Is the recommendation a 5-year active sentence on all these concurrent?
That's my understanding, Your Honor. I think the state would have to confirm, but that is my understanding, is a concurrent 5 years.
Is that, am I reading the recommend, it just says recommendation 5 years on all of them. I'm assuming that's concurrent?
That's concurrent, Your Honor.
Y'all, thank you for your patience. I just, before we got way far into it, make sure that we weren't overlooking anything. It all operating at the same playbook. You're Mr. Michael, excuse me, I'm sorry, got off track. Mr. Barr, you represent Mr. Anderson on these charges?
I do, Your Honor.
And having been through these, obviously, it's a fair number of indictments having occurred at different times and a fair number of police sheets, but if you had an opportunity to discuss the various elements of the various offenses and potential penalties associated with each of them.
I have, Judge. But some of these charges go back 4 to 5 years. So me and Mr. Anderson have had some conversations regarding the charges, the elements. So yes, Your Honor, and I feel confident that he is aware of what's going to be asked of him today, and I do agree with his decision.
Yes, sir. And he understands the possible punishments on these. Some are up to 10 years, some are up to 5. It looks like they're just recommending a 5-year across the board.
That's correct, Judge.
You believe Mr. Anderson has understood your discussions with him?
I do.
And again, I think you said you agreed with his decision to enter this plea. And you've been sworn, Mr. Anderson.
Yes, sir.
How old are you?
24.
How far did you go in school?
12th grade.
All right. Were you working? What was your last job?
W Flowers. EW Flowers and Scranton.
EW Flowers?
Yes, sir.
What kind of work is that?
Picking like you pick items and put them on the crate, go to KJ's and IJ.
Okay. All right. How long did you work there?
About 11 months I got locked up, and
How long have you been in detention center?
I've been locked up since January the 25th. I was down here in King Street, and I went down there. I went to prison, and they carried me to Lake Florence, and I ain't never been home. I ain't never been home ever since.
About 1,669 days, Judge.
Okay.
About 54 months, roughly, based on conversion of 30 days in a month.
Give me that number again.
1,669 days.
Is that from arrest on this?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Do you suffer from any physical or mental infirmities that would impair your ability to understand what we're doing today?
No, sir.
Are you under the influence of any prescribed or non-prescribed drugs or alcohol or anything that would impair your judgment?
No, sir.
And you know what you're doing?
Yes, sir.
All right. And you feel like Mr. Barr's done a good job for you and answered all your questions?
Yes, sir.
You're satisfied with his representation?
Yes, sir.
Anything else you need to ask him before we go further?
No, sir.
Okay. You understand I understand you want to enter this plea, and I'm going to the particulars of it. If you do enter a plea, you understand you give up your right to remain silent.
Yes, sir.
You would have a right to a trial. If you plead guilty, you give up that right to a trial. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
At a trial, the state would have to put 12 jurors of your peers in a box and convince them beyond a reasonable doubt of your guilt. You understand if you plead guilty, you give up that right to have a trial and that burden of proof.
Yes, sir.
And that you would waive your right to remain silent and admit guilt to these charges.
Yes, sir.
Okay. You also give up your right to have your attorney cross-examine any witnesses that the state would call, and any other defenses you may have to the charges. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, I've gone over what the pleas are and what the recommendation is. You understand I'm not bound by the recommendation. I can sentence you to more than that or less than that. But I'll tell you, I am inclined and generally do try to follow recommendations unless there's just some red flag reason I can't. But, and under that, I believe if they weren't concurrent and if they were up to what they actually carried, you could be facing 35 up to 35 years if they weren't on concurrent, and one of these, 2 of these, I believe, carry up to 10. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right. Let me hear the facts, and I'll come back to you and ask you a few more questions.
Your Honor, I'm also going to go in chronological order.
Yes, ma'am.
For the first offense, that the possession of stolen vehicle that occurred on August 3rd of 2021, deputies made contact with the complainant, Mr. who advised that his father's vehicle was stolen from the residence. They asked what kind of vehicle was stolen, and he stated that it was a 2014 GMC Sierra 4-door silver in color truck. As Mr. was describing the vehicle, he asked was it paid for. He advised yes it was. He stated that they did have surveillance cameras and they may have caught the individual that was stealing the vehicle and driving in the car. They took as much information as they could from Mr. and they went by the residence to see if they could download the video footage. They did get in contact with Farmer's Telephone to view that footage. While waiting to see if there was anyone on camera in view, that is when deputies noticed a black male with his head covered, with a white t-shirt, wearing black pants, walking around the vehicle and then leaving the property. The suspect then immediately comes back and enters the vehicle and drives off. The camera footage did not show which direction he drove off in. On the August 3rd, 2021, Central Dispatch advised county units by KPD, King Street Police Department, that the stolen vehicle that was placed in NCIC by the Williamsburg County Sheriff Office was seen on Lexington Avenue near St. John Street in the King Street area of Williamsburg County. Deputies responded to that location along with Mr. again, the son of the victim whose car was stolen. He was able to identify that it was his father's vehicle that was seen there. While officers were speaking again to Mr. Hayward, that is when the suspect exited the vehicle and ran towards the apartment complex. There were two other individuals that were in the vehicle at the time as well, and both those other individuals were able to identify Mr. Michael Anderson as the person that was driving the stolen vehicle. And in regards to the victim, I've spoken with him on many occasions. He did want to continue pursuing this matter right here. He did go through his insurance to cover any damages that related to this incident.
And has he been advised of this plea?
Yes, sir. No response back, but he has been advised of the plea.
Okay. The Victims' Rights Act has been complied with for these victims. It's more than one. You're not finished. I'm sorry. I'm cutting off. Go. Continue. I'm sorry.
That's fine. And this is the grand larceny value more than $2,000, less than $10,000 that occurred on January 8th of 2022. This report is from the King Street Police Department. Sergeant Coker responded to 401 Nelson Boulevard, which is in the town limits of King Street, in reference to a vehicle theft. Upon arrival, Sergeant Coker spoke with the victim, Mr. who stated that he went outside and turned his vehicle on to warm it up before leaving for work. Mr. McFadden returned a few moments later to find that his gold Infiniti was gone. The keys were in the vehicle. It was unlocked and running. At that time, no employee on the scene could access the cameras. Sergeant McWhite, formerly with the King Street Police Department, returned later and collected the video. Officers with the King Street Police Department reviewed that video, and they were able to make a guess that it was Mr. Anderson. During that time, they met with Mr. Willie Anderson, Jr., who is the grandfather of the suspect, Mr. Michael Anderson. They showed Mr. Willie Anderson the video from the larceny of the vehicle that occurred on January 8th, 2022 at the location of 401 Nelson Boulevard. Mr. Willie Anderson was able to positively identify his grandson, Mr. Michael Anderson, as the suspect that was seen taking the vehicle. Subsequently, on January 9th of 2022, Sergeant McWhite conducted a traffic stop on the 2002 gold Infiniti. That is the same one that was reported stolen on the day prior. The officer activated his blue lights and his siren along Long Street in the King Street area of Williamsburg County as the driver was approaching Wheeler Street. He observed the black male who matched the description of the video footage and where the video was stolen from. The unknown subject refused to stop for the sergeant. Again, his blue lights and sirens were activated. That is when the subject took a sharp left turn on Pine Avenue and ended up colliding with that officer. Again, we have reached out to him as well too via phone and via U.S. mail, notifying him of this plea hearing as well. We did have a prior response from him before, again, notifying him of what the charge was and how much time it carries. And in previous conversation, he was fine with a 5-year sentence. as it relates to the 2 counts of pointing and presenting a firearm at a person that occurred on January 14th of 2022. Central Dispatch notified the Williamsburg County Sheriff Office to respond to 760 Red Road in reference to an assault that had occurred that is in the King Street area of Williamsburg County. Upon the deputy's arrival, the suspect, Mr. Michael Anderson, was still at the residence and had not left the scene per the complaint, and who is the suspect's aunt. Ms. Anderson stated that she left the residence to meet with officers and to get out of harm's way because her nephew pointed a gun in her face while her child was standing beside her and placing her and her child in fear. They eventually met Anderson at 770 Red Road, which was at the top of her mother's driveway. Ms. Anderson stated that when she arrived at her mother's home that morning for prayer, which they do every morning with her child, she witnessed that her mother was asking Mr. Michael Anderson about her purse when she walked into the residence. Ms. Anderson stated that her mother had just got Michael out of jail previously, and for him to take her purse with her money and her identification was just too much for them. Stated that she told her mother that she needed to call law enforcement. When Mr. Anderson stated that he would shoot them if the law enforcement came out, and if he would shoot them if law enforcement came and tried to touch him. She stated that she told Mr. Anderson to give her mother's purse back. As she was leaving the residence, Mr. Michael Anderson followed her outside of the house and stated, "You said what? I will shoot you," and he pointed a black and colored handgun in her face with her child standing beside her. Spoke with she stated that she would have been in attendance for the day. She had some other work obligations. She was unable to come. She was notified about the plea, the amount of time that it carried, and she was fine with that offer being extended to him.
How about?
I apologize.
Okay.
Yes. And as it relates to the January 25th, 2022, the grand larceny valued $10,000 or more. This is also a report from the King Street Police Department. On January 25th of 2022, around 7:52 a.m., Lieutenant Neesmith was dispatched to 908 Sandy Bay Road in the city limits of King Street in reference to a stolen vehicle. Upon arrival, Lieutenant Neesmith made contact with the victim, Mrs. who stated that she parked her 2015 Toyota RAV4, which was brown in color, in her front yard. She stated that she came outside her residence on that morning around 7:30 a.m. to leave home, and that's when she discovered that her vehicle was missing. She also stated that she believes that she may have left the keys in the vehicle on the passenger side seat as she was removing personal items from the vehicle before that time. They did put the vehicle into NCIC and issued a bolo for a stolen vehicle immediately. Ms. did provide law enforcement with details about her car. She stated that there was a dent in the driver's side door of the vehicle and it was about the size of a dime. Lieutenant Neesmith began checking the neighborhood to see if anyone had any security cameras or had any footage of this incident. During their investigation, it was revealed that the suspect was involved in a hit-and-run accident in the same vehicle that she described. That incident occurred also on January 25th of 2021. There were 3 witnesses to this accident. The 3 witnesses were able to pick Mr. Michael Anderson out of a photo lineup as the one that was driving the vehicle and subsequently was involved in the hit-and-run accident on Promised Land Road. Again, spoke with Ms. previous occasions in regards to this incident. She also reached out to her insurance company to cover any damages in regards that she received from this vehicle collision into her car, and she was notified as well too about the plea.
Thank you very much. Anything else from you?
Nothing else from the state, Your Honor.
Mr. Anderson, I'm going to go back through all that, but I just took, in order to accept your guilty plea under the circumstances, there has to be a factual basis for it. I have to know that you're pleading guilty because you are guilty. With that said, do you admit, or are you admitting guilt to taking a 2014 GMC Sierra, a 02 Gold Infinity, and these are the grand larceny charges, 2015 Toyota RAV4 that didn't belong to you and having them in your possession, and also pointing and presenting a firearm at Michelle Anderson and Gladys Anderson.
Yes, sir.
All right. I find there's a factual basis to accept the plea. You admit that you did those things. You've answered affirmatively. I find your plea is voluntarily, knowingly, and intelligently made. You've had competent counsel with whom you're satisfied and have no complaints against. Mr. Roy, I'll be happy to hear from you.
Thank you, judges. May it please the court. As Mr. Anderson stated, he's 25 years of age, judge. He's got a birthday coming up July of this year. We want to thank the state for making the offer. Your Honor, I'm not going to go long here. Mr. Anderson does have time served credit for that equates to approximately about 54 months. And so essentially, Your Honor, all we were going to ask the court to consider is a time served sentence, and I'm going to try to make the court feel a little good about that request. Your Honor, Mr. Anderson also has, unfortunately, some other legal matters a little bit up the road in 52 in Florence. And so if he were able to get a time served sentence, he would not be able to rejoin us in society today. He would still have some serious legal hurdles to accomplish. And so what we're asking for the court is just to consider a time served sentence on these charges to run concurrently, so that Mr. Anderson can then pursue the other matters up in Florence County that are a lot more serious than these. These are very serious charges, notwithstanding what was in the incident report. Our logic in that, Your Honor, is that if he's got other legal issues in the state, we believe it might not make tremendous sense to send him to have him do a turnaround just to come right back and sit in the detention center. If the court allows him to have time served, he would just simply relocate up to the Florence, Effingham, and he would have his day in court on those charges, which are about 4 charges there coming from the year 2022. What Mr. Anderson was saying when the solicitor was reading the facts, Judge, is that these charges they do go back quite a while, that he and his grandmother, Ms. Gladys, reconciled. She's actually supportive of him, and she's been supporting him while he's been detained and making sure that he has money and things such as that. And so there has been some time. Mr. Anderson is regretful of these situations, Judge, but we're just asking for a time served sentence just based on the fact that he's pretty much accomplished what the solicitor's recommendation would be, and with the knowledge of knowing that he still has other challenges to jump over.
Sure. All right, I'm going to make these concurrent. Is it sufficient if I just go back all pleas of May 19th, 2026?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Mr. Carr, your point about the turnaround is well taken. I don't want you to think I disregard it, but as I've indicated, I'm generally inclined to accept recommendations because that's what y'all have worked out. Y'all looked at this case, and I say y'all respectively, the state and the defense, in one fashion or another since 2021, 2022. And the reason I feel comfortable accepting recommendations is you all collectively know more about this case than I do, and I tend not to substitute my judgment for the state's judgment, the defense's judgment in arriving at these recommendations. With that said, Mr. Anderson, but for the recommendation, you wouldn't be getting 5 years, period. You'd be likely getting a much stronger sentence than that. So I'm going to sentence him to 5 years Department of Corrections concurrently on all of these, and give him credit for the 1,669 days. You probably just got to go get a number. You probably maxed it out. I think that's correct, and it is that yo-yo effect. But I do feel constrained to accept the recommendation as made, given the broader circumstances of these charges. If I deviate a little bit, it causes bigger problems in my mind down the road. So, but I do thank you. I wish you good luck, Mr. Anderson, and I appreciate it.
Thank you.